Hello, everyone. Well, hair loss. Oh my, I know. I love my hair and I would be devastated. But this is the reality. It happens to a lot of women, either through forced menopause or through natural menopause. Well, that's why we have Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee specializes on women's health and also on cancer patients, helping them improve their quality of life using naturopathy. Thank you so much, Dr. Lee, for being with me.
Oh, thanks for having me here for sure. And I think this is such a great topic. I guess I'll just get started into why we might encounter hair loss for a lot of us women. So there's a few reasons why women might experience hair loss. And yes, for sure, cancer therapies is one of them. But other things could include things like high thyroid hormone issues, for example, or nutrient deficiencies. One of the most maybe common ones that we can catch really easily is a low iron level, for example. So that would be a ferritin or low ferritin level. And once we can optimize those, sometimes that can actually help with hair growth and hair strengthening. Hormone imbalances, like other hormone imbalances, certainly when we get into menopause, we know that the decrease in estrogen levels, for example, can also impact the way that our hair naturally wants to grow and the strength of that hair as well. If we have other family members, right, there's that hereditary portion of hair loss too that we have to take into account, because some of those parts we can't necessarily control, but certainly there are usually other things that we can help to control in order to improve our hair growth and the hair strength as well. The way that we might be taking care of our hair too, or our hair care practices, oftentimes can also either increase our hair loss as well or decrease the hair strength there. So those are a few things that I would consider. When we talk about medication potential for hair loss too, we're not just talking about cancer therapies like tamoxifen or anastrozole that might be common or a common knowledge for people. We're also looking at things like blood pressure medication, for example, that could also potentially cause a little bit more hair loss as well for some women. So those are a few things that I would be looking at. For my patients specifically, or any woman that's experiencing hair loss, there are usually multiple factors here that could be playing a part as well. So in terms of some of the natural strategies that we might be looking at for things like hair loss, for example, then we want to look back at some of those underlying root causes. Is there something that we can potentially use to help mitigate that? And I know for a lot of women, really two popular supplements that a lot of women probably talk about and ask about, one including collagen, the other one including biotin. And I know there are many, many hair, and nail products that have a lot of these things included in them. And it kind of makes sense because collagen actually does play a part in terms of the quality of our hair and the quantity of our hair. And certainly supplementing for some women has been helpful in terms of getting that quality and quantity back. There are other things too that we have to sort of think about, right? So collagen, our body can also produce naturally. And there are many ways or things that could improve that collagen production, including simple things like vitamin C. I think oftentimes we sort of, see it as a very low cost, low impact vitamin, but that vitamin actually has a lot of importance in terms of that collagen production naturally. The other things too that we might want to consider around collagen is, what are some things that could be damaging that collagen, right? So things like too much sugar or refined carbohydrates, for example, could absolutely impact that. So those are a few things that I would consider with collagen. Something like biotin, we see in a lot of multivitamins, we see in hair and nail products as well. One key thing about biotin, which yes, it could be helpful in things like hair loss and just trying to get that hair strength back, is that if you are doing some blood work, so things like thyroid panels, for example, or you're going into emergency because something happened and you're getting some blood work done there, that's definitely something that you want to make sure that you tell your doctor about. And certainly if you have the power to stop it a couple of days in advance of doing your blood work, it can be really critical and important because it also can impact the way that your blood work can come out. Right. So they just have to know that and consider that as well. We know that there's some really clear strategies around eating enough protein, for example. Our hair is made out of protein. And so we need it to ensure that we have that adequate amount of that. And what is that really? Technically, it's about 0.8 grams per kilogram per day amounts would be sort of the general, everybody needs around that much. And we're talking about lean proteins for the most part, right? Because we're trying to stay away from lots of saturated fats. We want to also protect from things like physical damage. We talked about that physical care being something that's really important. So if you're brushing too hard or you're using the wrong type of brush, right, and you're finding, you know what, every time I brush, I've got these huge clumps, we may want to look at the way that we're brushing our hair, the products that we're using. Maybe it's some of the hair sprays and the chemicals that we're using as well. Are we flat ironing? All of those things can cause physical damage to the hair that can actually perpetuate more hair loss and impact your follicles as well. Scalp massages, so increasing that sort of stimulation in the area can be super helpful. Again, it has to be really gentle. We don't want to be, going wild at it with our nails. It's really the pads of your fingers that you're looking to use as well to stimulate some blood circulation in the area and hopefully stimulate some more hair growth as well. We also know that as our hair ages, we are in more need of antioxidants as well. So again, having a really good diet is really critical and important. Potentially some supplementation could be critical and important there too. And the other thing that a lot of people don't necessarily think about is protecting our hair from UV rays. So UV rays, right? So that's just wearing a hat basically, because you're not going to be wearing sunblock on your hair there, but just wearing a hat can actually help protect your hair follicles from the UV rays that could actually be damaging to your hair as well. So those are a few things that I would usually consider too. As just some basic things that we want to talk about. Stress can also play a factor. So minimizing that stress, working on that stress resiliency is going to be really critical and important too. So just a few things, I guess, there to consider too. But absolutely, I think the question oftentimes that I get is, is there an ability and possibility for hair to grow back if I've lost it? Yes, there absolutely is. There are many, many different things that you could be using. Obviously, supplementation wise, it's something that you want to work on with your own naturopathic doctor or your doctor that's really knowledgeable in that area. But there's this really great study around something like even pumpkin seed oil potentially being helpful with hair loss and hair growth, especially if there's what they call an androgenic or more of a testosterone type element to it there, that it can actually help for that hair to regrow. And the pictures in some of these studies are really amazing in terms of the impact that it can cause too. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, there's no hope, I've tried a lot of things and I'm losing more hair and I'm just, my hair's thinning out and it's not what I want to happen, there are just tons of natural strategies that you could be using to help with that as well. So just want to make sure that people know that. And it's usually multi-pronged is what I call it. There's not usually just one magical pill for everybody. We work on it holistically, and working on that foundation is going to be super critical and important too. Because again, you want to work on a lot of those levels that we talked about today. And certainly supplements could be one thing, but if you don't work on the foundationals, then those supplements can't work as well too. So those are just a few things that I would consider too.
I think it's beautiful the way you described. It's not just one pill, and we in United States, in fact, all the Western countries are so used to popping a pill and everything is going to be fixed. And,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And yeah, even with natural supplements, I think we have that idea in our heads that, okay, just this one supplement, whether it's collagen or biotin, is going to be it. But oftentimes it could be like a few things that can be helpful instead of just one.
So that's why it's important to talk to a professional who can help you, who can guide you, someone like a naturopathic doctor, because naturopathic doctors are trained in multiple different modalities, not just one thing, right? And because, today's session is just on hair loss. I don't want to talk about how naturopathy can be so beneficial in a detail, but that is really the future of, in my mind, medicine going forward, is going to naturopathic doctors.
That's right. Like just going the natural routes and really ensuring, right? We often just look at medications, but I think we've started to shift all of those ideas around the fact that just medications can help with that. Because as we saw, right, there's some medications that we may be on that could be impacting that. And certainly if you have to be on those medications, great. There's other strategies too that we can use. I do have a Thrivers Menopause Masterclass on Thursday. If anyone wants to sign up for that as well, they can reach out to me for sure. And we do have a website, the thrivemethodhub.com. If anyone wants to sort of go in there, we'll have some things in there too and resources. Hopefully that's helpful to women, especially after cancer treatments. That recovery period is really important, and hair growth and hair loss certainly, and just hair health in general can be really important as well.
Well, thank you so much. We'll share your website in the comments and anything else you want to share. Any free resources, you're welcome to give it to us and we'd be happy to share with you, obviously, your name and everything. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Lee, for being with us. To all the viewers, thank you so much for your support. We are launching these programs soon, so stay tuned and we'll be back soon. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.